Welcome back to another Team Jonzer deck profile. This deck is just giving your opponent aids. So we'll get right into it. Start off, 3 Ronin Totem. He's pretty cool. And here, I'll flip it over so you guys can have a gander. He's pretty cool, and he's pretty cool. Next is Flip Flop Frog, and I'm gonna flip it around here in a second so you guys can see him. Here's give it a good old flip flop. And the reason this card is good is not only will he grind people's gears, but he doesn't target. His effect, I don't know why, but for some reason it doesn't target. So, if you want to play somebody with something gay like Cosmos, you can bounce their ships. If you want to play something like Raid Raptors, you can't bounce Ultimate Falcon. Only because he's unaffected. You can still bounce other things that, can't normally be targeted. Because it doesn't target for some reason. Dupe Frog. Dupe Frog is awesome because if you have 2 or more on the field at once, your opponent can't declare an attack, and that grinds people's gears. And finally, last monster. That's right, this deck runs almost no monsters. We have Swap Frog. Swap Frog, he's a cool guy. Because when you summon him, you can throw one of your other frogs from your deck into the graveyard, which adds fuel for Ronin Totem's effect. So, he'll grind people's gears. Now, spells. The spells comprise basically the rest of the deck. Aquarium Set. Now, normally one would consider this card to be silly. Because all it does is provides plus 300 attack to all water monsters you control. But what makes it good is its graveyard effect. If this card is sent from the field to the graveyard, you can target one Aqua monster in your graveyard. Special summon it. Also, you cannot special summon monsters for the rest of this turn except Aqua type monsters. So, basically, with this card, you can leave one of these in your graveyard the whole game. And then, if you ever want to bring them back, all you have to do is send Aquarium Set to grave. It's gonna give your opponent some autism, grind some gears and whatnot. Aquarium Stage, this card actually is a lot better than the last one. It has the same graveyard effect, but it also makes it so your water monsters cannot be destroyed unless it's by another water monster. So, basically, if you're playing a mirror match, this card's pointless. Otherwise, it's probably gonna grind people's gears. Foolish Burial, literally accomplishes the same thing that Swap Frog's effect does. It's a decent card. Probably not going to grind anyone's gears, though. And, William's favorite card. That's all there is to say. It's William's favorite card. He absolutely loves it. And now for the traps. Triple Strike, because if your opponent's aids aren't bad enough already, this will amplify it quite a bit. Reckless Greed, because when you're playing this deck, you draw phase isn't really a big deal when you can just draw a shit ton of cards. Lost Wind, that card. Let's just say, for just a rare, it's an extremely overpowered card. Pretty damn good, especially when all the monsters in the deck are actually fairly weak. Scrubbed Raid. This one card is probably the best card in the whole deck, just because it's the best. Now, it's a continuous trap, and this is what it does. During the battle phase, you can send one card you control to the graveyard, except this card, to end the battle phase. So if your opponent ever summons anything stronger than your frogs, all you have to do is send something you control to the graveyard, and they don't get to attack you. Let's say it'll grind people's gears. Now, here's the main part of the deck. Paleos. Now this is where things really get fun. So, yeah, Paleos. This one, when you activate it, it targets one banished card and returns to the graveyard. That's what that one does. He's not outstanding, but he's not bad. This one, target a face-up card on the field, discard one card, and if you do, banish it. That one's not too bad. This one isn't bad. Send one trap card from your deck to the graveyard. So this actually lets you put some stuff in your graveyard to get you going. This one, Book of Moon. This one, right here, MST. So if you have something engraved, need to get it back, and you have one of your aquarium cards on the field, you can MST it and get something back. This one, you only run one, because this is the one that lets you draw, but you can only draw it by discarding another Paleo card from your hand. So, yeah, it's not bad. Double Storming, because it grinds people's gears. And lastly, that brings us to my personal favorite tech card in the whole deck, Magical Hats. Now, oftentimes this card could really be considered pointless, redundant, not good for the deck. But the reason it's good is because when you can only activate it during your opponent's battle phase. And when you use it, you pull 2 spells or traps from your deck, special summon them to the field as 0/0 monsters, face down in defense position, and then you shuffle them along with one of your monsters along on the field so that your opponent doesn't know what they're going to attack into. They'll either hit one of the spells or they'll hit your monster. But that's not what makes it good, although it's not bad to be able to protect a monster. What makes it good is that at the end of the battle phase, the spells and traps that you pulled from your deck go to the graveyard, even if they weren't attacked into. They just, at the end of the battle phase, they go to grave, which is good because that will trigger Aquarium Set or Aquarium Stage's graveyard effects because they were sent from the field to the graveyard. And so if you're in a real tight spot and you need to get a Toad out but you can't, that's a good way to do it. That's also why you always want to leave at least one in your graveyard. And so yeah, it's not necessarily thought of as a great card, but it'll grind people's gears. Now, for the extra deck, you're on 3 Toads. I'll flip one over so you fellows can read it. There you are. I'll give you a minute to read that. And now that you're done reading, yeah, it's Toad. He's pretty awesome. Hence the name, totally awesome. Paleozoic Trap Guy. Basically what he does is, like all Paleos, he's unaffected by trap effects. You can activate Paleozoic trap cards from your hand. That's pretty good in itself. If he has a trap card as a material, you can detach and add 1 Paleozoic trap card from your deck to your hand. So, it's not too bad. Now, you have Paleozoic Crab Guy. Paleozoic Crab Guy, like all the others, is unaffected by monster effects. What he does is, once per turn, if a trap card is sent from your spell and trap card zone to the graveyard, you can excavate the top card of your deck, and if it is a trap, add it to your hand. Otherwise, send it to the graveyard. Once per turn, during either player's turn, if this card is a trap as a material, you can detach 1 material from this card, target 1 card on the field, destroy it. So, it also has destruction, which isn't terrible. And last but not least, we have Dog Shark. The reason Dog Shark is awesome is because when you detach a material, it doubles one of your targeted monster's attack. So if you use it on Totally Awesome, he'll go from 22 up to 44, and that'll let him swing over most anything you'll see today. So that's good. And yeah, that's the whole deck.